And good morning and welcome in. This is WJOP Radio 96.3 FM. WJOP LP, Newburyport. That's Lynn Taylor, a local singer, here on WJOP Radio. By the way, WJOP, WJOP Radio, is the radio portion of the NCM Hub, now airing the morning show simultaneously on Comcast Channel 9 in Newburyport. PortMedia is the video production arm of the Hub. Its programming shown on Comcast Channels 8 and 9 in Newburyport, along with PortMedia YouTube. Forecast for today, it's going to be sunny, and we are looking for a high of 81 degrees. Clear to partly cloudy tonight, 53. For tomorrow, partly cloudy and 65. And tomorrow night, a few clouds and the low of 52. For Thursday, intervals of clouds and sunshine. Thursday's high of 76. We'll have our next high tide right around 12:35 this afternoon. Currently in Newburyport, 57 degrees. Good morning, I'm Damon. And in the news, the Newburyport City Council meets tonight. Agenda items include a pair of zoning ordinances relating to Newburyport's marijuana retail and cultivation policies. One of the measures would place a temporary moratorium on marijuana shops in Newburyport until December 31st. The Governor's Academy held its 255th commencement Sunday, graduating 120 seniors. The keynote speaker was John Kerry, the former U.S. Senator, former U.S. Secretary of State, and former presidential candidate. Among municipal meetings for tonight, besides the Newburyport City Council meeting in West Newbury, the Bicentennial Committee is going to be meeting, and the Board of Selectmen will meet as well. Amesbury celebrated its 350th anniversary of its incorporation over the weekend when local settlers decided to separate from Salisbury to form their own community, naming it after Amesbury, a town in England, where some of them came from. As part of the celebration, the mayor of Amesbury, England, Lord Mayor Richard Allen, and his wife were in town to help with the events. Allen and his wife presented Amesbury Mayor Ken Gray with a time capsule that is going to be opened on Amesbury's 400th anniversary, which is going to be in 2068. The State Medical Examiner's Office is going to be conducting an autopsy after a man's body was discovered sitting against a tree in Georgetown Saturday afternoon. It was discovered by a passing motorist. The person had deceased. No foul play suspected. Georgetown police say that there are no active missing person reports. The Seacoast Center Marine Mammal Rescue Operation has expanded its territory, setting up a satellite office at the Mass Audubon's Joppa Flats Education Center in Newburyport from its home base in Rye. The center is now responsible for responding to all calls about marine mammals on the shore from Essex north to the Maine border. The public is being asked to help protect the endangered piping plovers nesting along the sandy shores of Hampton and Seabrook. The New Hampshire Fish and Game Department says that there are 6 pairs. Their breeding habitat is fenced with yellow roping to indicate the birds' presence to beachgoers and to allow the mating pairs space to nest and raise their young. And a bill to allow Hampton to hold an emergency town meeting to vote on replacing a corroded sewer pipe at Hampton Beach passed the House and Senate last week. If the bill is signed by Governor Sununu, it will allow the town of Hampton to hold a special town meeting in which voters would then be asked to replace 2 pipes that run under the marsh from Hampton Beach to the town's wastewater treatment center. There have been problems with leaks over the past 6 months or so. The MVRTA is going to be holding a public hearing on potential service cuts this week, which may include eliminating all Sunday service and some reductions of weekday bus service. The agency is looking to cover a potential shortfall of $600,000 worth of funding in the upcoming fiscal year. Public hearing in Newburyport is scheduled for tomorrow afternoon at 1:30, and that is going to be held at Newburyport City Hall. A Newton man arrested by Amesbury police recently is being held without bail until his next court appearance. 43-year-old David Barnes was in Newburyport District Court recently for a bail review hearing and deemed too dangerous to be released prior to trial. He's accused of meeting a 15-year-old girl that he met online for a sexual encounter in an Amesbury motel. He's charged with rape of a child and is due back in court June 27th. Newburyport's Education Foundation is going to be holding its awards night on June 12th at the Riverwalk Brewing's Tap Room on Parker Street. Recipients include Megan Ash. She'll be getting the Excellence in Education Award. That's the Ed Award. Blake Lee Green will be getting the Cindy Johnson Volunteer Award, and Scott Signor of Matter Communications will be getting the Business Partner Award. Carrie O'Donnell is the new Executive Director for the Newburyport Education Foundation, and you can get more details at newburyportef.org. Seabrook Police recently agreed to reopen the shooting range in town to police only, beginning June 7th for a 3-month period. The range was closed in February after police say an errant bullet struck a window at the nearby CP Building Supply Store on Amesbury Road. And the Custom House Maritime Museum naming Jessica Papathon as its next executive director. That decision announced recently. She replaces Mike Mraz, who recently stepped down. The Custom House Maritime Museum celebrating its 50th anniversary this year. Amesbury Mayor Ken Gray's $59.9 million budget that is being proposed for the upcoming fiscal year, up 2.4%. Out of that budget, $31.6 million would go for schools and $7.7 million for public safety. It's expected to be voted on by the Amesbury City Council at its meeting scheduled for June 12th. And the sale of the Racket Club in Newburyport expected to be finalized soon. Current owners include former Mayor Byron Matthews and architect Jonathan Woodman. The new owners are Daryl Colden and his wife Kristen Tallman, and Gary Gassman and his wife Laura Goldberg. The Sail Portsmouth Tallship Festival is going to be back this year. The Piscataqua Maritime Commission announcing that the Oliver Hazard Perry and the Roseway will be sailing into Portsmouth on Wednesday, July 25th. Sail Portsmouth did not occur last year because of the Sail Boston event. And West Newbury officials getting set for the arrival of their very first town manager, Angus Jennings. He is going to be the first town manager in the history of West Newbury, starting on July 1st. Salary of $145,000. Jennings will be coming to West Newbury from Hamden, Maine, where he currently works as that community's town manager. Taking a look at sports, the Red Sox, Andrew Benintendi, fell just a double shy of the cycle yesterday while hitting a 3-run homer, and J.D. Martinez hit his 17th homer of the year. As the Red Sox beat Toronto 8-3, David Price picked up his 5th win of the season. The two teams meet again tonight with the Red Sox sending Rick Porcello to the mound, looking to improve his record to 7-2 on the year. And a glance at the standings shows that the Red Sox, now post-Memorial Day, lead the American League East by 2 games over the New York Yankees. Golden State beat Houston in Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals yesterday and will now be going on to meet the Cavaliers, who beat the Celtics in 7 games for the NBA championship. So it's going to be Cleveland against Golden State. Las Vegas beat Washington 6-4 in Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals last night to take a 1-0 lead in the best-of-7 series. Game 2 set for tomorrow night in Las Vegas. And the New England Revolution, coming off a 3-3 draw with Vancouver on Saturday night, will be hosting Atlanta United tomorrow night at Gillette Stadium. On the local sports schedule in baseball, it's going to be Linfield at Amesbury today. Softball has Masconomet at Newburyport. Boys lacrosse, no action scheduled for today. Girls lacrosse has Andover at Newburyport. Joppa Radio would like to remind you that the Greater Newburyport Chamber of Commerce annual golf tournament is going to be held on Monday, June 18th at the Ferncroft Country Club in Middleton. Groups of 4 and singles are welcome, with a day of golfing followed by an awards dinner and opportunities to win special prize holes and tournament raffles. See newburyportchamber.org for details. And the Newburyport Art Association is holding a regional juried show now through June 2nd at the gallery at 65 Water Street in Newburyport. More details are available at newburyportart.org. And the Amesbury Council of Churches accepting nominations for its 2018 Layperson of the Year Award. person should have made a substantial contribution to an Amesbury church, the Council of Churches, and the Amesbury community. Nomination forms are available at all Amesbury churches. The submission deadline is tomorrow, and the award will be presented at the Rocky Hill Meeting House service on Sunday, July 1st at 4 in the afternoon during Amesbury Days. And the Greater Newburyport Children's Chorus is registering singers in grades 2 through 3 for this fall. Singers are not required to audition. For grades 2 through 3, they can register through the website gncchorus.org. Singers in grades 4 through 8 are required to register and audition. They can register for a 15-minute small group audition through the website. Auditions will be held on Tuesday, June 12th from 4 to 6 at the Hope Community Church in Newburyport. The forecast for today, we're looking for some sunny skies with a high of 81 degrees. Clear to partly cloudy tonight, 53. For tomorrow, partly cloudy and 65. And tomorrow night, a few clouds, 52 degrees. For Thursday, intervals of clouds and sunshine with a high of 76. Our next high tide right around 12:35 this afternoon. Currently in Newburyport, 57 degrees. That's our latest look at the news. I'm Win Damon. This is WJOP Radio 96.3 FM. Broadcasting simultaneously on Comcast Channel 9 in Newburyport. WJOP Radio 96.3 FM, and good morning. I'm Win Damon. We have a guest with us this morning, the day after Memorial Day. It is Pam Palumbo. And Pam, good morning and welcome in. Thank you for coming in today.
Good morning. It's so nice to be here, Win. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's my pleasure to have you. And for those who may not know, Pam is the Newburyport city nurse, so making sure everybody in Newburyport is happy and healthy, right?
Yes, we hope so.
Well, anyway, one of the ways to get healthy is to make sure that you eat the right foods, and this is something that you have taken on as a mission.
Absolutely, we really think this is truly fundamental to good health, and poor access to healthy, nutritious food, amongst other things, I think is really one of the major causes of a lot of our chronic illnesses that we're seeing today. So we're really starting to try a very preventative method of getting good food out to people and enjoying it together.
Well, this is something that this topic is something that we discussed about on the other radio station I used to work at, and back, maybe 2 years ago. Have you been working on this for that long?
I think we're actually on growing season 4.
Oh my gosh.
So we've, time goes by, doesn't it? Although they say it slows down in the garden. So maybe that's why it feels like 2 years ago.
Yeah. So tell us about the program. What are you doing?
So this is part of Nourishing the North Shore, which is a program of the Newburyport Health Department, and we have partnered up with the Newburyport Learning Enrichment Center and the YW Save Newburyport. So we have so many different programs, but the overall mission is to get healthy local produce on every person's plate in the greater Newburyport area. So we do everything from cooking and nutrition programs. We have a gorgeous garden at the Emery House, which is the monastery in Newburyport. All of that produce goes out to local families and seniors in need. We have a pop-up veggie market that comes up in 3 times a week now during the entire growing season, all throughout the Newburyport area. Our new one's going to be at the Sullivan Building this year. We have one at the Pettingill House in Salisbury and one at the Newbury Food Pantry. We also go out to local farms and help pitch in on any tasks that they need and help glean their fields, meaning that we go and harvest any crops that are left out there, which then also gets distributed out.
Oh, wow. That is something that actually is kind of a biblical thing there.
Exactly. Yep. I had to reference that a little bit, look that one up. And
yeah. How about that? So tell me a little bit more about these pop-up gardens. How does that work? Or the pop-up markets?
Sure. So it's called our Veg Out Market. So we hold those three different locations during the week. Our first markets are starting this week. We had our kickoff this week, which is really exciting. So all of it is local produce. Some of the produce is what we've grown, as I mentioned, at our garden at the Emery House. And all the other produce has been either donated by local farms. We have five phenomenal partner farms that are all in the Newburyport area, and the rest has been gleaned at those farms.
All right. What are some of the local farms that you're partnering up with?
Oh, sure. Here's the test, if I can list them all off.
Sure.
So we have a Mahaffey Farm, which is in Rowley.
Okay.
We have Heron Pond Farm, New Harmony, Appleton Farm, Three Sisters Farm, and Ipswich is one of our really strong partner farms.
Oh, okay. And how did those partnerships start to pop up?
I think, as we were talking about earlier, Newburyport's a very small community. Well, the farming community is even smaller. So everyone knows each other. Everyone is, really trying to help support this local food movement. And you have to support your local growers. We have two amazing program coordinators, Kaylee and Emily, who are both farmers. They have a degree in sustainable agriculture from UMass. So in their small network of friends and colleagues, we've kind of all connected.
Mm-hmm. And it's more than just putting food on the table. You, as you mentioned, you like to teach people how to cook it too.
I love to cook. I love to teach. Love to eat.
Oh yeah.
And I find that most people do too. Even if folks are saying, "Oh, well, I don't really get in the dirt. I don't grow. I have a black thumb." Everybody eats, so everybody can kind of rally around that.
Yeah.
It's a great place and a great way to kind of connect to other people and maybe meet people your neighbors that you don't even know yet, because everyone can share a meal.
Now, let's see, we are at the end of May, so what would be popping its head through the ground these days?
All sorts of good stuff, all sorts of lovely herbs. And as we're coming into June, if you've noticed, a lot of the white flowers on the strawberry plants are starting to give way to some luscious fruit, which we're excited to see. Some beets, some carrots, some lettuces, and then all bunch of great stuff on its way.
All right, so this is all about sustaining the North Shore and helping people become a little healthier and eating properly. And you haven't talked about the how do you grow things like Swedish fish?
You let me know, and we'll figure that out.
Yeah. You probably don't have a whole lot of sugar, do you?
We try to stay away from the sugar as much as we can. But it's funny, the more you get away from those things, the more you taste the natural sweetness of a lot of the foods that we grow. Beets are kind of this hidden nature's candy that a lot of people don't know about. Can be incredibly sweet and delicious.
Really? What do you do with beets?
Oh, all sorts of things. I think that's our kickoff class to our nutrition series over the summer. Cornally, it's called Beets Me, but it's everything beets. So we're using the beet greens and sauteing them in garlic and putting them on flatbreads. And we are doing roasted beets and making a delicious salad with that, and making a smoothie also.
Wow. When I think of beets, I think of the TV series The Office, because Dwight Schrute, he had the beet farm.
Exactly.
So there's more than that, more than just raising them.
Yes, exactly. We'll channel him when we're cooking.
Mm-hmm. Now, how did you get into learning how to cook all this stuff?
I'm very luckily married into an Italian family, and if you know many Italians, Sunday dinner is a big deal, and so we all kind of contribute. We have that every single Sunday, and if I didn't learn how to cook, I might have been booted from the family, so it was a do or die kind of thing, but it's been wonderful. I've really learned a lot. It's been really fun.
So you let them take care of the pasta and the sauce, and then you do your stuff.
Exactly, yes. Although we've moved on to doing spaghetti squash and orangetti in replacement of the pasta and things like that. So you get creative.
Huh. Can there be something like beet ravioli?
I don't know if that exists, but I like it. We should do that. It would be pretty.
Yeah, that would be something else. So tell me a little bit about the Emery House. How did you land in that spot?
We have been so blessed to be connected with the brothers at the Emery House. It's this gorgeous gem that's kind of tucked away in West Newbury. It's right off 113. So what happened, actually, it's a bit of a story. We received a grant, we had the land, and the land kind of got pulled out from under us. So we had this money to grow food and no place to do it. So we very humbly approached the brothers there, and they have just welcomed us with open arms. It's really part of their mission, having sustainable agriculture on their land. It's historic farmland that's been with the Emorys, I want to say 350 years. Sending in the soil sample to the extension at UMass. It said, this is premier, gorgeous, the most beautiful dirt they've ever seen. So we're so lucky that they're just allowing us to host us there.
Oh, that works out really well. Do you have, I know that, there are a lot of smaller farms that are operating now than there were years ago. So how many acres would this be that you have over at the Emory House?
We have a really small, what we're calling micro farming. It's at their garden plot that they had existing called the Monk's Garden. So that's where we're operating out of now. And it's unbelievable the amount of food that can be grown in a very small space. So we have that plot that's up by the brother's house. And there's another plot called the Grafton Garden, which is further down the road, but still part of their property that we're hoping to develop. And it's just under an acre. And the goal on that parcel of land is to grow a community garden there with 55 garden beds. We have a greenhouse there. We're going to have bees in an apiary, picnic table, sunshades, a food forest. It's really going to be a place where folks can learn how to grow and grow together. And it's a bit of training wheels for those folks that aren't comfortable growing yet, because we have our lovely 2 farmers there that can help answer any questions you have.
So that's all part of the future. That's where you want to be. And in order to get there, you got to raise some funds, I'm sure, right?
Yes, we do. Yep. But we're hoping we'll reach our goal. We have a partnership with Mass Development. So once we reach our $50,000 goal, Mass Development will then match that. So we'll have a nice, healthy budget to put in the expensive items like the well and irrigation and electrical.
Oh, yeah, you forgot. It's one thing to have dirt. It's another thing to have water to make the garden grow.
Absolutely.
Huh.
Yeah, pretty essential key. So we're hoping to be able to raise enough money to put the well in for sure. And we are in a bit of a time limit. We have to raise the funds by June 27th. So we're working very hard to meet that goal.
Yeah. So what do you do? Do you have raffles? You raffling off the asparagus or something like that?
Yes, a very high prize asparagus. We have worked with Patronicity when we have a crowdfunding platform. So you can either go onto our website at www.nourishingthenorthshore.org and link right onto that webpage and donate there, or Patronicity /NNS will take you right to the donation page, and it explains everything about the project, what we're working on, our team, and has a short little video of that you can see the land and the rendering of the plans.
Oh, okay. So probably the easiest way is to go right to your website to make those links to other things, right?
I would think so, yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So your website again is?
www.nourishingthenorthshore.org.
Okay, nourishingthenorthshore.org. Hey, neat. Well, that's a good thing. And if I remember correctly, weren't you trying to work something out with David Hall too, in his project that he's working on over at the corner of Route 1 and Pond Street?
Yes, well, Kaylee is actually working with him and has been on that project for many years. I suppose you could say inadvertently we worked with David Hall because his lovely daughter, Ella, actually spearheaded the feasibility study for this project and really made it possible for us to even start with this fundraising to get some motion on this project.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then I guess you're still working with him in some regards. Now, when it comes to growing foods, are you trying to be organic or almost organic, or do you bring in the crop dusters and clean things out that way too?
We are definitely doing sustainable organic practices. That's really important to us as an organization. We want to make sure we're giving really clean foods to folks, and also for the brothers as well. They very much want to be stewards of the land that they are taking care of. So we're partnering with them on that.
So can this be somewhat natural? Or are there like bugs that eat other bugs, so they leave your food alone?
There are so many different tricks of the trade that you can do, and that's the wonderful thing too about having a small farming community. They all share what works, what hasn't worked. There are so many different tools. Ladybugs are wonderful.
Really?
They're your friends. They will help you out. Or you could even do things like they're called trap crops. So plant a bunch of radishes, and that pulls a lot of those nasty bugs that you don't want to the radishes, and they'll leave the other stuff alone.
Really? So you call that a trap crop?
Yes.
Okay.
My husband's favorite trap, honestly, is the beer trap, which helps get rid of slugs.
Really?
Absolutely. Yep.
How's that work?
It's a good way to go, I guess, if you think about it. But my husband had a fun time trying to figure out which beer he thought the slug might like most.
Oh, so you put an open bottle over there, or bottles with bottle openers, I guess, and then they fall into it? Is that what happens?
Pretty much. You have kind of an open bar for the slugs, and you have a nice shallow dish filled with whatever beer you have on hand, and they have a very happy death, I would think.
Oh, no. Wow. And you also mentioned bees, too. I heard that, bees are having a hard time these days.
They really are. With colony collapse and mites and you name it, they're just under assault in all directions. So we feel like it's really important to have bees there, not only to pollinate our garden, but another major purpose of this community space is education and talking about bees and how important pollinators are and what we can do to support them. And I think a lot of folks don't know how much of the food we eat relies on the health of pollinators.
Ah, all right. So you have the bees, you have the land. You're working with the state agricultural, the UMass, their agricultural school. They said you had great dirt, and that's a good thing. Was that something that the brothers worked on to make sure that the dirt was nourished? I don't know if was there like manure put in there, or how'd that go?
Oh, absolutely. I think where we're operating out of was an old paddock. So there's been plenty of lovely manure left there over the years.
Okay.
And they've just been taking such good care of the land.
Yeah.
So it shows in the soil tests for sure.
Okay. Now, is the land big enough that you need to have, mechanical help in turning the dirt over and things like that, or can you do that all by hand?
We're going to use predominantly hand tools. We did have some of the big machines come in and make the space more level so that we could really have an open and fresh design and put our stamp on it. Mm-hmm. But after that, it's going to be, for the most part, hand tools.
Okay. Well, we're talking with Pam Palumbo, and she is with, besides being the Newburyport City Nurse, she is with Nourishing the North Shore, and the website is nourishingthenorthshore.org. How's that?
Yes, that was perfect.
Well, that was a nice thing. Nourishingthenorthshore.org, and that's where you can go on and help with fundraising. So you said patronicity?
Yes, it's called patronicity.
Uh-huh.
And also, if you're just curious about seeing the land or talking to any of the Nourish team or the farmers or seeing the garden and the chickens up there, we're having a garden party potluck on June 14th at 5:30 at the Emery House, which is 21 Emery Lane. So it's kind of a special way to come see the property. The brothers don't open the land up terribly often. I think they do it once a year, but it's just a really special opportunity to see a really special place.
Yeah. So June 14th.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm still having a little trouble seeing it. So you go down 113 towards the center of West Newbury, but before you get there, I go with. I go on landmarks. You have the Page School on the right-hand side. You have the Episcopal Church on the left-hand side, and is it before that?
Yeah, we're right across from the Episcopal Church.
Oh, okay.
That's a perfect landmark.
Okay.
I believe it's 814 Main Street.
Okay, but right across from the Episcopal
site.
Church.
Yeah.
Okay. Never. All right. I'll have to take a look at that the next time I drive down that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Huh. Now, Now, so you're raising funds, and you have a deadline to make sure that you get the money raised, because you have some matching funds in there that are going to be kicking in?
Yes, absolutely. So we're kind of under the gun to raise all the funds by June 27th.
June 27th. All right. Well, there's a lot of things to get done, and besides raising the money, you're probably busy planting too, because now that we're past Mother's Day and past Memorial Day, it's got to be a crazy time to get things into the ground.
It really is. We are full on now. Memorial Day is kind of that flagship moment of, all right, all hands on deck.
Yeah. All right. And what's going to be going in over the next couple of weeks?
All sorts of tasty things.
Yeah.
We're going to do cucumbers, squash, tomatoes, kale. We have our herbs that are coming up really beautifully, radishes. And a lot of the things that we grow are really what folks are telling us that they don't have much access to. And a lot of that is fresh lettuce. So we're having a lot of different lettuces coming through.
Really? Okay. Yeah, there are a lot of different lettuces, aren't there?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Your salad can never has to be boring.
Okay. So there's more than just iceberg lettuce.
Oh, definitely. Yes.
Do you have any favorite types yourself?
I think my favorite would have to be arugula.
Arugula.
Yeah,
Okay.
nice and peppery and really tasty. Pairs nicely with goat cheese and beets.
Oh, that brings up another thing too, because that's kind of farming as well too, as far as the animals go. So, are you tied in with any local dairies and chickens and things like that?
We really should make a local goat connection. That would be, I think, and there is a goat farm nearby. We are very fortunate that we actually have our own flock of hens. We have worked with a group called Growing Humanitarian. So it's 14 families with young children that come and tend to these lovely ladies twice a day and collect the eggs and feed them. And it's been really, really nice to work with them.
Oh, that's good. My grandson, he's got they have a few chickens there too. So he's out in Oregon, but yeah, it's nice to be able to see them work that stuff and make sure that the chickens are protected and things like that, because there are some bad chicken eaters out there, aren't there?
More than I'd like to think about.
Oh,
yes.
Geez. Yeah, you don't want that. But also, that reminds me, because I hear stories. I don't know. You know Vicki Hendrickson, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
Well, Vicki loves to tell stories about, she has a garden, but she also claims that the garden is one that helps raise wild animals because they eat all of her food. How do you prevent that?
Well, we actually have a couple geese up at the farm that the brothers have tended to for many, many years. They're pretty frightening. I think they do a good job keeping the humans away. I'm not sure about the creatures. I learned the hard way what it means to get goosed.
Oh, no.
Especially springtime, they're pretty rowdy up there. So at least for the chickens, for sure, we only let them free range when we're up there tending to it. We have some very good fencing mechanisms also.
Yeah.
Some nice hardware fabric to keep the critters out of the salad bar.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, my daughter went to Franklin Pierce, and they have lots of geese on the campus, and yeah, you don't want to get them mad at you.
No.
They're scary.
They really are.
Yeah. All right. So you have those pop-up markets that are going to be taking place, and you want to just run down those locations again that they'll be happening at?
Absolutely. So we have the Sullivan Building right here in Newburyport. We have the Newbury Food Pantry, which is just over the town line in the First Parish Church in Newbury, and then Pettingill House as well over in Salisbury.
All right. And is that something that is run by donations?
So we have quite a bit of lovely grant funding. One of our major funders is Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare. They gave us a 3-year grant, which has really helped launch this program. And also local funders. Joppa Flats Running Club has donated really generously through the years. Pennies for Poverty, all sorts of local groups are really helping support this. And again, it's the local farms. Without a lot of the produce that they're donating, these markets would be looking a little more sparse than they are now, which they have a bountiful amount of produce available for folks, which is really nice.
Now, I'm thinking as well, too, with all these locations that you're working at, you probably need a few volunteers.
You are so right. So again, if you have any interest in any manner of different parts of contributing to the program, we would love to have you. Even if it's the produce market, or if you're a photographer or a writer, any sorts of things that you might not even necessarily think are linked to food or growing, all of those pieces are really important to helping us tell our story, get out in the community, and to distribute this produce to folks.
Now, are you doing anything with fruit trees at all, or is it all produce?
That's hopefully part of the food forests that we're going to be putting in at the community gardens. Fruit is a major luxury for folks that are living on fixed incomes. So we really hope to be able to bring some more fruit to folks. So we're going to definitely do blueberries, blackberries, raspberries. We do have strawberry plants that are popping up now. And also, I'm so sorry, I forgot to mention Tender Crop Farm also donates as well. And they just have some really wonderful fruit. Last year we were swimming in peaches, which was a wonderful thing.
Yeah, Matt does a really nice job, doesn't he?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and he helps out a lot of folks as well, too.
He does, yeah.
And if I remember correctly, doesn't he have a family member down in like South America or something like that he helps out as well?
Oh, that's really exciting one. I hadn't heard about that.
I think
that's
so.
Really nice.
That's where you, if you were doing buy the bread and feed the animals that he has over there, the ones that are on display, I guess. I think that some of that money goes to help support that cause as well.
Oh, that's so great.
So
I'll have to go feed his display animals then.
You have to look at that, yeah. And those animals are fun, too. That's like going to a zoo.
Exactly right.
So, but yours is going to a farm, and the farm has lots of stuff in there, and it's always a good thing. Now, do you have any more cooking classes lined up?
Oh, we do. I believe we have 6 classes that are starting July 12th, and they run every other week. So we're just starting to put out the promotion for that. I met up with Allison Lahane, who is the locavore writer for the Daily News.
Okay.
So we kind of put our heads together last week and kind of came up with our menu plan. And each class is going to feature a local ingredient that's in season at the moment. So I think it's going to be really fun.
Oh, wow. So you're not necessarily all geared up for vegetarians, though, right?
No, one of our recipes is going to be a peach salsa on grilled chicken. So, Yep. There's plenty of room for all sorts of types of food.
All right. So if you're going to do that peach salsa, how would you go about doing that?
That was one of Allison's recipes that she has not yet disclosed to me. So I'm actually anxiously waiting to see that one.
Yeah. Now, what about some of your recipes that you'd like to get out there on how to prepare for food that's grown locally? What do you like to?
So I think one of our classics is definitely going to be frittata. It's incredibly easy to make, and you can just really load it with as much veggies as you happen to have in your crisper. You can be really inventive. You don't have to go out to the supermarket and grab specific ingredients. It's really, adapts well to pretty much anything you have in your fridge. So if you have eggs and you have some veggies, you're good to go.
Really? So you'd like fry up the eggs and then cut up the veggies and put it all together like that? Just toss it together like a salad?
Sort of, depending on what you have going on. You can saute up a bunch of veggies, then you introduce the eggs and kind of cook it a good part of the way on the stovetop, and then you can kind of finish it in the oven. So it puffs up. It's similar to a quiche, they're just without the crust.
Okay. Now, watching some of these garden shows, I noticed that it's not the garden shows, but the cooking shows. It all seems to be about the spices. So that's where the herbs come in, right?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
They really can liven any sort of thing, and you eat with your eyes a lot too. So even just putting a little bit of fresh parsley on top of your food just makes it look so pretty. So
that's why they always try to make the dishes look good, not necessarily taste good, because all these chefs seem to be so concerned about plating their meal. But I would think that it's more about how the meal tastes. But I guess it all has to go together, doesn't it?
I guess so. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, as far as onions go, are there many There are, I'm sure, a lot of varieties of onions, right? Sweet onions and
Vidalia, red, yellow.
Okay.
Yep.
And by doing the different onions, you can get different colors in there, and that is something that makes the dish look even better.
Sure thing. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it sounds like you've got yourself a busy summer ahead of you. Now, what do you do in the off season?
We write a lot of grants.
Yeah.
And we kind of gear up, planning our classes and our programming during the slow season. We say quote unquote because there's always something going on.
Now, is there a way that you can save things like a cold storage or cold cellar or something like that, so vegetables can stay good throughout the slower times?
Absolutely, and I'm really glad you mentioned that, because one of the volunteer opportunities, we kind of have these pop-up produce cutting parties, for lack of a better word.
Oh, okay.
So last summer we had fall rather, we had a bunch of acorn squashes, those big gourds that are really hard to cut through.
Yeah.
So a lot of the folks that we give food out to are seniors, and that's hard stuff, even for folks that have, don't have arthritis or anything like that, wielding these sharp knives. So one of the things we did was prep all those up, and then we vacuum sealed them with a recipe right on it and popped them in the freezer, and then we distributed them out that way.
Huh. Now, I'm thinking that, with squash and stuff like that, you take off the outside part because that has to be chewy and stuff like that.
Right.
So all you do is you can, I guess, steam it, boil it, and mash it up, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
So I'm a chef.
Yes, you are. Everybody can cook. Everybody who eats, you can cook.
And then you can put a little bit of salt and pepper on it, because that's what they all do, and maybe put some onions in it. Sure.
You really can just open up your cupboard and just throw some stuff, and you don't have to be afraid. And if you make a mistake, it's okay. There's always more squash out there.
That's right.
You don't have to be afraid, I guess, is my point. And you can experiment and try and make it really fun.
So in fact, I heard that one of the chefs, he was saying that you'd learn the basic recipe, and then you just make your alterations the way that you want to.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yep. And I think a lot of us have grandmothers where they have these recipes that they've passed down, but a lot of them are to taste, or a handful of this or a pinch of that. And that's, how some of the great cooks cook.
All right. We're talking with Pam Palumbo. She's the Newburyport city nurse, and also is helping run the Nourishing the North Shore. NourishingTheNorthShore.org is the website, and that's where you can find out how you can help out, find out how you can help raise some funds, make a donation if you'd like to do that, and get involved and help nourish the North Shore. Because if you don't eat well, then that's a problem. Right?
Yes. Yeah. We believe health is wealth, for sure.
Being the city nurse, I'm sure that you see people who don't eat well, and then that's an issue right there. Although that has nothing to do with things like, when I think of the city nurse, I think of flu shots and things like that. But you do a lot more than that, don't you?
Yeah. A lot of the motto of public health is promote, protect, and prevent. So I'm really on the prevent side of things. Working on a cardiac floor when I first came out of school, and saw a lot of the chronic illnesses, and a lot of it comes down to how you nourish your body, which is part of the name of our program, but that's exercise, that's eating well, and a lot of this project too is related to community building. I think mental health is a big issue right now that a lot of people are concerned with, so this is really hoping to draw people out of their homes, getting together, sharing a meal together, and making those connections.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a good point right there, because as you mentioned, being part of a big Italian family, it's everything gets together on a Sunday afternoon, and that's the big thing. Everybody cooks and everybody eats and everybody has a good time.
Absolutely.
So how do they fill the hole if you're out there gardening on a Sunday afternoon, or do you make sure that you're home to help prepare the meal?
Well, luckily I get to spend a lot of my Sundays at home in our garden and help supply a lot of the food that they're going to cook later. So I do my part in that way.
Yeah. So you, besides helping all these other gardens to go on, you have your own garden?
I do, yes. In all my spare time.
Oh, my gosh. Well, what do you have in your garden?
We are a little bit behind this year. I have a lovely little 8-month-old at home that has been, taking a bit of our time.
Yeah, I bet, yeah.
But we have our strawberries coming up. We just planted 2 apples and 2 plum trees.
Okay.
And this weekend we hope to be putting in our arugula, some radishes, some beets. I'm trying to think, cilantro, basil, tomatoes, cucumbers, everything.
So that's all stuff that you grow and then you chop up. And then, or do you have to dry it out, then chop it up so you can use it later on in cooking?
Yeah, our supplies are running a little low in the basement, but we do have this lovely little part of our basement area that has a nice string that's full of garlic that we harvested that's drying, and a bunch of herbs that we've dried there as well.
That's right. I forgot about that. So you put these things up on a string, and that's how they dry out.
Yeah,
right?
It's just that easy. Yep. We just use some extra laundry twine and those clips, and you're good to go.
Okay. Well, now it's all starting to make sense. Do you have you ever bumped into Lisa Colby from the Colby Farm?
I haven't yet.
Oh, okay. Well, she says one of the most exciting times of the year for her is when the seed catalog comes out.
Oh, yes. It brightens any winter day. There's hope for green in the future.
All right. Well, there's hope for nourishing the North Shore as well too, and I think you're off and running on a good way there. So important dates coming up over the next couple of weeks that you'd like people to remember?
Yes, thank you, Wynn. So we are having our potluck garden party on June 14th. From 5:30 to 7. That's at 21 Emery Lane over in West Newbury. We would absolutely love to meet you. Come chat with us. Come see the garden. And for the deadline for the campaign for the community garden, we need to raise $50,000 by June 27th. And donations can be made at our website at www.nourishingthenorthshore.org.
Okay, so those are important dates, and that's an important donation right there. So that's a matching grant?
It is, yes.
Okay, so you can buy a lot of stuff for if you hit that goal of $50,000, you can buy a lot of stuff for $100,000, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Our feasibility plan is chock full of all of our dreams. So we're thinking it's going to be a really amazing space for the community to come together and be educational as well.
And on top of that, you're helping out folks be healthy, and that's important too.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, Pam, I want to thank you for joining us, and we'll have to get you back again.
I'd love that. Thank you.
And maybe we'll get you back before the harvest time.
Yes.
Okay. Pam Palumbo, our guest this morning, Newburyport City nurse, but also helping with Nourishing the North Shore. Our guest here on WJOP Radio 96.3 FM, WJOP, LP, Newburyport.